Hello, welcome to the Newspaper Review. This is where we bring you the headlines across newspapers around Nigeria. Yes, I say that all the time because on this show, you get detailed analysis of some of the headlines that come hot on the newspapers every other day. So if this is the first time you're seeing this video, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and subscribe right now. Click on the subscribe button, of course, turn on your notification because it helps you to get notified whenever we come up with episodes of this program and the other interesting programs we have lined up for you here on Top TV. I'm not alone right here for this newspaper review. I'm with the beautiful Natasha Brown. You're welcome.
Thank you, Abule.
Yes, and we are going to do justice to these headlines in a very short bit. But don't forget that you're also part of this program, so do well to drop your comments, your reactions on the comment section. We always love to hear from you and get feedback from you whenever you do that. So please do it one more time. We'd love to get that. And also connect with us on all our social media handles. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and of course on Twitter. Facebook is Top TV, Instagram is Top TV _NG, and on Twitter is Top TV _NG. So connect with us on all of this platform. Let's hear what your opinion is about the headlines. All right, for today being the 21st day in the month of June, we are going to go to the headlines beginning with Vanguard newspaper. And on Vanguard, we have a headline here. Confirm, we are committed to press freedom, defense of democracy. Editors speaking there, and details of that story you find on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. Also, we see here on Vanguard why we opposed Nnamdi Kanu's request for access to his medical records. DSS. That story is on page 11 of Vanguard newspaper. Also, we'll take this one. I feel like Tiger, ready to devour criminals, acting IGP Egbetokun speaking. And you find details of that story on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. Moving on to the main headline here, it says, anxiety as ex-depot petrol prices rises to 490 naira per litre. Retail price rises to 515 naira. Major marketers lift at 446.57 naira per litre. Regulator unavailable at filling stations. PMS now for the rich, NLC speaking. Deregulation drives change in price. Other headlines here on the Vanguard newspaper we have here. Presidential poll, Tinubu opens defense June 30th. Atiku Obi close cases Friday. And you find details of that story on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. Also, lastly, I'll take this one here. It says, EFCC releases ex-governor Autumn after 10 hours grilling. Details is on page 13 of the Vanguard newspaper. All right, that's all the headlines from Vanguard we'll be taking. Natasha, let me come to you. I don't know if anybody has noticed, but the fuel prices at the filling stations are now going up again from 12.11 naira from here in Port Harcourt, 12.15 in Bayelsa and some other states, because this price is very dependent on how far your state is and all of that. The prices here from 5.11 is now 5.20 in most of the filling stations. Some places are selling 5.25, and that is not going well with a lot of Nigerians. First, it was just a short while ago we had this 400% increment in the price of petrol to 5.11 naira per litre, and now we have a gradual rise in the price coming up again. And they're saying it's as a result of landing cost and all of that. What's your take regarding this very particular headline?
We live in tough times. What can I say? Subsidy removal was actually a good plan, or it's actually a good action.
Yeah.
It's a progressive action, to my understanding, because based on what has been said, we were losing over 9 trillion every year. That's a lot of money. Because of subsidy. And then even other countries, other West African countries, they were benefiting,
Of course.
from us paying subsidies. So now that it's off, we knew that this was coming. actually, because I remember that initially it was touted that the price was going to double into 750 naira per
Yeah.
liter, and
Yeah.
Nigerians were like, oh my God, God, no. And now we're seeing it gradually increase.
Yeah.
And it's getting to 520. My dad even talked about it. I think, was it this morning or yesterday? 520, 550. In fact, some places are going black market. Right now, it's going as far as 650 per liter. Why are the regulators not doing their job? DPR? Why are they
Yeah.
not doing their job? Why are they not going to these outlets and checking on what they're doing? NNPC is selling what
At
490?
511. No, they
511
yeah,
now?
they're still doing 511. 498 or so is in Lagos, not down here.
Yeah, so I'm looking at all of this, and I'm just really, really wondering, and I'm actually seeing light with what NLC said. You know, when they say PMS is now like the rich man's
Yeah.
oil. I mean, and jokingly, people say if you're able to fill up your tank, you're a big boy,
You're
you're
a
a big
big
girl.
boy. Yeah.
It's telling on a lot of Nigerians. My only reservation is that I wish that the presidency had properly put palliative measures down
Before this.
that will ease Nigerians into all of these things that we are experiencing. But I'm reservedly positive about this government. I'm trying to see what they're going to do. Like, we have places like, is it Kogi or Kwara, that is trying to do 3 days work week for civil servants. And I think earlier this morning on the news, I heard that Governor Sim here, River State, would probably bring about some buses that will help convey
True.
civil servants as well. So we see that a few states are beginning to bulk up and
Yeah.
try to do what they can. I hear that in Lagos State, Sanwo-Olu is already trying to increase minimum wage, like basically, so minimum wage, basic salary might get up to 60,000 monthly. So I'm seeing some governors, you know, trying to do what they can, and understandably as well, Tinubu has talked about also increasing minimum wage
Yeah.
nationally. So I'm looking at all these angles, and I can't wait for these things not to just be words.
Yeah.
I can't wait for them to be put in effect so that it can rightly help Nigerians manage the situation.
Yeah.
Because right now, everyone is at a loss. I'm wondering where we'd go from here, because income has still not changed yet.
Yeah.
You know, transportation has increased. And now they're saying, I'm hearing of a rumored 7.5% VAT that is going to be put on fuel as well, on PMS. So I don't know what their plan is yet. But I do hope that he actually has these plans laid out. I mean, we have this PMS to deal with, and we're likely going to have electricity tariff hike come July 1st as well.
Yeah, that's already happening.
So I'm like, okay, Tinubu, I was really looking at you getting all these things done, but I wish that you actually do have proper palliative measures set in place. And but let's see how it goes. I actually believe that it's a temporary discomfort, but it's for the greater good. That's my reserved opinion about it. But I really do wish above all things that the advisors he has put in place, that they have their intellect intact to be able to know how to help Nigerians mitigate around all of these changes, discomforting changes we're experiencing. So let's see how it goes. I'm hoping for the best, but I know that it's telling on a lot of us. It's like, oh my God.
It is.
And then NLC is talking about alternative energy, talking about, you know, using our natural gas and all that. I think this also creates an avenue for LNG to be able to do the needful with our natural gas.
Yeah.
If that's something that we can key into as an alternative source of energy or alternative source of fuel, then let's do that. And if that's going to be definitely it's going to be at a lesser price, then let's do that. Because the way things are going, I mean, the average Nigerian might not be able to afford fuel anymore.
Very true.
You know, we're not even talking about food. We're not talking about transportation and all of that, and running your business. Businesses might shut down. negative aspects to this, but it is my hope that he knows what he's doing and that he will rightly unfold greater palliative measures that we can see and it's tangible and not just words.
Very true.
So,
Very true. At this
My
point,
heart's out to Nigerians and all of us. I mean, we are all being discomforted, but I do believe that it's going to be temporary.
very true.
And that we're going to see greater progress.
Yeah,
So
we're
hopefully,
all hoping for that to happen.
Hopefully.
While these prices are, dancing up and down, because that's what, this subsidy removal will come with. Marketers will now land products and sell at the cost or the expense at which they brought it in and all of that. And this is already happening. We are beginning to see that. And we don't know the backstory to all of this, why these prices are beginning to soar the way it is. 520, we know it's not any better than the 511, but it's a bit higher.
And I even understand that I think 6 more companies have been given license to import fuel.
Yes.
I think
and the first
this
3
will help create more variety in the cost of PMS. So let's also
now
look
the varieties you're talking about, are they going to be comfortable ones? Like, okay, so I brought it lesser, so I want to sell below 511 and all of that. But I know Nigerians and business people here,
likely for 480.
They might not be doing that. They might just stick to the 511 naira price and just leave it at that benchmark. But at this time, any increment within the last 3 weeks or so, of let's say about 4 weeks now, any increment about this time is not going well with Nigerians. And now that we're beginning to see these on fuel pumps, it's becoming very disturbing. 511, I wanted to buy this morning and I bought at 520. And I really wasn't smiling at that. I'm yet to adjust myself into the new price. And I can tell you that a lot more people like me are struggling to adjust themselves into the new pricing. Now I calculate and restrict my movement so much. I had to, gather appointments in one day.
The other day I was supposed to go pick something somewhere and I didn't. And, my sister was like, oh, why didn't you? I'm like, I am managing my movement.
Yes, so you have to.
If I can combine a lot of movements in one and get that
sorted
out.
That's it. And then petrol consumption has also dropped nationwide. And that's on record, it has dropped. And all of this is not even helping us. Like, for instance, now one would think that, okay, so maybe the electricity sector or the power sector will improve so that people will be less dependent on petrol. But that's not the case. We have electricity tariff going up, but we don't have the power sector being stabilized.
But I'm looking at the angle where, how he has already given license to states to be able to also generate their power, distribute power. And I'm looking at all of these angles, and I'm thinking that all of these discomforts we're feeling it provides an avenue for governors to be able to do better by their states. Granted certain levels of autonomy that they have been given. Governors should now be able to sit down with their teams to ask, how can we be able to progressively work with our states, generate power, alternate sources of power and all of that. We should do that. I was shocked that even Gombe, a state like Gombe, they're one of the people who are leveraging of solar energy, especially when it comes to their street lights, their overhead bridges and all of that. They're one of the states really leveraging of solar power. So at night, the town is not totally dark. So why can't River State do that? This will really expose a lot of states if your governor is going to work or if it's not working or whatnot. So,
well, this is the time we're calling on state governors to really intervene while we wait for the federal government to come up with their plans for palliative and, make it a reality, because they say works are being, undertaken to ensure that they kind of reduce the stress amongst Nigerians. We're waiting for that to happen as quickly as possible. Just as, that's why the story of the announcement of the subsidy removal was hasty is an old story at this point in time, even though it has affected a lot of people in a very, very strong way. But then we're waiting for that palliative. Our governor here, Siminalayi Fubara, he says he's going to, put out transportation palliatives. We're waiting for that to help people because people are really suffering at this time. People can't really move around very much. We hear some workplaces have already reduced their work schedule to 3 times too within the state. I know of somebody working in Port Harcourt here that said, okay, his boss has asked him to come to office only 3 times within the week. That the other two days within the week he will have to work from home.
So in this dispensation, Nigerians might definitely get to embrace hybrid work, hybrid and remote work.
We're hoping that will be the case, but so far it is not really going down with a lot of Nigerians with a continuous fuel hike in price. All right, let's move away from that story. Let's go to our next story, our next paper, and that will be Daily Independent newspaper. And the headlines here reads, "I feel like a lion ready to devour Nigeria's enemies. Acting IGP." All right, we also see a story here. EFCC grills former Governor Autumn for over 9 hours. And move on to the main headline. It says, Atiku, Wike, Okowa, Tambuwal, shun PDP reconciliation meeting. Also, we see a story here. Federal government has no business running national carrier, says MedView CEO. You find that story on page 29 of the Daily Independent newspaper. Also, Diri says PIA is a time bomb, urges amendment of legislation. Story is on page 7 of the Daily Independent newspaper. Court fixes July 13th to rule in the Emefiele's enforcement of rights suit. Details on page 6 of the Daily Independent. And lastly, I'll take this one. Shareholders lambast SEC for failing to audit books in 8 years. All right, that's all the headline I'll be taking from Daily Independent newspaper. Make sure you pick up a copy and read up the story. But we go to this story about the new IGP. He says it feels like a lion ready to devour Nigeria's enemy. And that is the newly appointed or acting Inspector General of Police, Kayode Agbetokun, and he was appointed, or he was, given his ranks yesterday. He was decorated by the Vice President at the Presidential Villa, and he says he's ready to take on the bad guys. What's your opinion regarding this story?
You have started with speaking English. Like, you have started with what? You're a tiger ready to pounce? Come on. It's not about, this is not the time for semantics. This is not the time for getting Nigerians, oh my God, he said what he said. No. It's time to do your work. It's time to do your job. The good part is his predecessor, his boss, rightly said, oh, he worked well under me. We worked in some capacities together. He did really well. So his resume from the boss is pretty good. Right? So I'm hoping that he's actually really ready to hit the ground running. Yeah. The way that he says he's excited about it as a tiger. If you say that you really want to start flushing out both internal and external enemies of Nigeria, I think you should start from the force. Because every time I fly the roads, I still see these police officers collecting 100 naira from people.
It's not just the 100 naira, the harassment.
Cards and,
the harassment.
Harassing people. So he better start from inside the force and clean that up before he comes onto the outside.
And even in River State, it looks as though this special anti-robbery squad has come back to the streets of Port Harcourt in another form.
No, but even at that, the governor has addressed it.
Yeah,
he came out to speak against it.
True.
And so we're hoping that it's not just talk, that he's
he mandated
the
police commissioner to withdraw those guys from the street. But, well, I'm yet to see if they've really left the street. But
he just said that 2 days ago. So let's see. But definitely, so if he's this excited, I can't wait to see what the results of his excitement will be. But based on his track record, from what his predecessor said, okay, let's look at that. And there was a point in time he even worked here in River State. So I get to understand. So let's just look at it, and hopefully the whole criminality actually does reduce, because unfortunately the whole criminality he's trying to fight, it starts from the top. So what really are you trying to get all excited about? So let's just really see how it goes. And I really do hope that he does well. One positive thing, one positive thing that has happened so far with this government is the change that I've already started seeing, meaning you're already doing like a total overhaul
True.
of every system, every strata, whether they voted you in or not. Even though some people are that they're skeptical about this whole thing, they're saying that he's just basically trying to plant his men into places, into offices and all that. I'm not buying into that because I think Tinubu knows right now that a lot of people's eyes are on him.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
Because it was so loud how people, a lot of Nigerians, almost 70% of Nigerians were anti him coming into governance, coming into rulership. Do you get? And also the whole evidence of, oh, you rigged. So he already came into office with a halo cloud of blackness or a lot of reserved optimism.
True.
So definitely, I know that one thing that will be a motivation for him is to prove people wrong.
Yeah.
To tell people that, hey, I had this thing planned out. And when I said Emilio Kong, I wasn't just playing.
Yeah.
I was serious about this thing. And one thing he said when he was coming into office, his inaugural speech, he said, I'm not asking for anybody to pity me. I knew the job I was going to get, and I chose to get the job. And I'm in the job now. I'm not asking for anybody to pity me. In fact, he welcomes the insults that comes his way because he understands it's part of the office. So I'm really hoping that all of these things that we're seeing and the people that he's putting into places of office and all that, I hope that they do well. I hope that they do the needful. And so far, so good. A number of people he's appointed, they have a good track record, and we're seeing that, something good will likely come out of it. So for this a better Kungai or a better Kungai, I'm hoping that actually the tiger in him comes out, like he said. And he's not just speaking English and trying to get all excitable about the position, because the position he's in is very sensitive.
Very, very.
It's not about
very,
you getting
sensitive.
Excited.
It's a very tasking job, but
It's
we
a very
hope that you'll be able to
job,
hold his own.
because definitely we know that as Nigerians, one of the major issues we face is insecurity.
True.
So if he's able to get his job right, he has really helped us in a big way. If he's able to get his job right. So, I mean, let's watch out for that. Let's see how it goes.
All right, thank you very much. Well, Tinubu, you mentioned people saying that he's planting his friends and his people in positions. My own take concerning that is that if you are planting your men or people around you, it must be people that you trust, people that you know that understands your vision, your goals, that you are planting in positions so that they can hit the ground running without having to seem confused. So I'm not against that as far as they can deliver, as far as they can work out these objectives that the president have. It is obvious that the president is on an overhauling process at this time. Yeah, he's just going to every sector, every institution, checking out the people and say, oh, I don't think you can do this. You need to step aside. Let's have some fresh bloods that are in sync with my vision. And they're already doing all of that. So yes, if they can deliver, then I'm not against that. Even the IG, Usman Al-Khali Baba, we know that he was in office for a little bit over his retirement age. And this incoming just have up till September next year, 2024.
Which is likely going to be extended.
Yeah, we don't know what will happen, but if it's extended, that shouldn't come off as a surprise, depending on how we may have seen his performance. Well, let's see how all of that play out, but congratulations to the new IGP, and we're hoping that we're going to feel his work around the security sector.
We're going to feel the tiger.
Yes. We're going to feel the tiger, according to Natasha. All right, we're going to take a short break now. Once we come back, we'll take on our last paper for today. You stay tuned. Don't go.
Hey there. Are you looking to record your videos, do your voiceovers, and take your professional pictures? Look no further. With our state-of-the-art newsroom, photography, kitchen for our food content creators, and exclusive children's studio, we certainly can deliver the best studio experience. Our carefully designed studio space can bring your diverse creative content ideas to life. We aim to consistently serve value to our customers far and wide. Come, Let Tharv Media give life to your dreams. Tharv Media, a slice of infotainment.
All right, welcome back, and we want to thank you for staying with us up to this time here on the program. We're still checking headlines across newspapers around Nigeria, and I'm still with Natasha. Let's go to our last paper for today, and that will be Daily Sun newspaper. And on Daily Sun here, we have as headline, PDP's reconciliation talks suffer setback. Atiku, governors, Wike, orders absent. We all contributed to outcome of 2023 polls, say party stakeholders. Page 6 is where you get details of that story. We also see as headline here, Imo, PDP accuses defected SWC members of mismanaging 1.4 billion naira campaign funds. Anyanwu Okorocha reportedly in unholy deal. You find details on page 9 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Moving downwards, it says here, Cardinal Onayikon hails change of service chiefs, asks Tinubu to change security structure. Details is on page 26 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Editors committed to defense of democracy, press freedom, NGE. Speaking there, and details is on page 6 of Daily Sun newspaper. Enugu Guba Tribunal dismisses Nnaji's petition against Mba Edeoga. All of that you find on page 9 of Daily Sun newspaper. Lastly, I'll take this headline. It says, Atiku, PDP closed case challenging Tinubu's victory. Again, lament difficulties in getting documents from INEC. All right, very interesting as regards the tribunal. We've been following most of the activities of the Electoral Tribunal holding in Abuja. And now the headlines have it that the PDP and most likely the Labour Party also going to be closing their arguments and their case on this coming Friday. And by then, we also saw that Tinubu wants to begin his own submissions beginning on the 30th of this month. All right, what's your take generally on that story?
Well, let's. It's unfortunate that almost all the stories we've talked about today. My take is always, let's see how it goes. Well, they're going to be closing their case come Friday this week, and yeah, they have pitched their tent. They've I mean, petitioned him, and they've put out all their box and the evidences out there for the court to do the needful. So I hope that the court does the needful at this point in time. But definitely, we know that there was the part where INEC was not forthcoming with the documents that were needed as evidence, to be analyzed and to critically show the court what their reservations were, during the whole elections. And I think one primary document that they needed access to was the ECDBA. I think that was one primary document they needed access to, and they needed it for the whole 36 states, like inclusive of Abuja. But then INEC gave to them just 14 states. And they were not happy about that because they needed the entire states to work with. And another thing that happened was they actually needed time for the court to allot to them, to their legal team, to be able to assess this document state by state. Take a state, totally look through it all and all that. And they were not given the time to do that. They were not approved the time to do that as well. So from what they have said, about the whole process, they were not very satisfied with the way the whole thing panned out, especially from the part of INEC not being forthcoming with materials that were needed that would
prove their case.
Yes, to prove their case. So, but at the end of the day, the case is coming to a close. Friday's just around the corner, and they're going to keep it short for the court to be able to do the needful with all of the evidences that they have so presented. Also, rightfully, like we heard, Tinubu is going to also bring out his own counter case, and I'm wondering what the hell is going on here. He's going to start his own counter case and all that, but Peter Obi's own is still in court, it's still in process. So, well, they have done their part. Peter Obi is doing his part. Let's see how it goes at the end of the day, because Tinubu has already started doing some work, and to an extent, he's winning the hearts of Nigerians to an extent is also losing the hearts of Nigerians because Nigerians are not liking this discomfort. We faced 8 years of great discomfort come Buhari's tenure. So Nigerians are not looking for it anymore. We just want something that will enable us to be a progressive state, a progressive country where each and every one of us can thrive. You know, so, well, FX has gone up, PMS has gone up, transportation is up, there's inflation, there's all of these things going on. But we are looking out for, okay, in the long term, is this going to be a progressive thing whereby all of this temporary discomfort is actually going to be just temporal, right? And then it's going to be for the betterment of the country and the economy and all of that. So all of these things I'm looking at. So yeah, case in court, case out of court. Let's see how it goes. If I doubt Tinubu is going to be impeached, but if he is, so be it.
I agree with you.
You know, by the end of the day, the evidences that have been put out there, I hope that the court does the needful and we don't have a case of like the bull Kachoa where the husband has to, you know, influence, you know, whatever goes on. I'm hoping for a transparent process.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, a lot has gone down already at the tribunals. I believe we're still going to see more of those stories and drama coming out of the tribunal. But one thing of note is the fact that INEC has not been really forthcoming with, you know, their help at the tribunal. They've not acted really sincere to me. But then I don't want to preempt the court's judgment. If the case is on, we're going to see how the outcome is going to be. The first two political parties, that is the PDP and that of the Labour Party, they've been able to put out their case, and they say at this point we rest our case. It's up to the judges to make their decision. But then we have the counter case coming up from the APC come June 30th.
It's going to be a lot of
a lot of work. And then after that, we're also going to wait for the judges to come up with what they think is the right decision.
Verdict,
So we're waiting for all of that. Our fingers are crossed. I want to thank you so much, Natasha, for coming on the show. And to our viewers, thank you for watching up to this time. I'm afraid that's where we're going to draw the curtains for today. My name is William Sabule. Until next time we come your way again, you stay well and stay safe.